Task 1. Our goal is to graph a linear equation that is given to us in slope-intercept formula. And slope-intercept formula is y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope of the linear equation and b represents the y-intercept. So there's really 4 steps to graph linear equations. The first step is to always plot the y-intercept first. We know that it's going to be on the y-axis at whatever value b is. The next thing, step 2, is to count the rise. Remember that slope can be written as rise over run, and so we're going to count the rise going up or going down. It doesn't actually matter. Step 3 is to count the run and plot a second point. And so we will move to our left or to our right depending on which way we want our line to point. If it's positive slope, we know we want it to point up to the right, and if it's negative slope, we want it to point up and to the left. And then step 4 is to double check to make sure that our line has the correct positive or negative slope. So we're going to look at a few examples. The first example says, graph the line with the equation 3x minus 4. So step 1 is to graph the y-intercept, and I know that my y-intercept b right now is negative 4. So I'm going to first plot a point at negative 4. So let me delete that. Negative 4. Then the second step is to count our rise and our run. Well, what is our rise and our run? We know that our slope m equals 3, and 3 is a fraction of 3 divided by 1. And so I know that my rise is going to be 3, and that my run is going to be 1. So from my point here, I'm going to count up 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to count to the right 1 and plot this point. And I'm double checking. I know that my slope is positive, and so I want my line to point up and to the right, and it does. And so I know that this is the correct graph. In this problem, we're asked to graph the line with the equation y equals negative 2x plus 2. So again, I know that my y-intercept, which is b, is going to have a value of positive 2. And my slope, which we call m, is equal to negative 2. Well, negative 2 can be written as a fraction of negative 2 divided by 1. So then I know that negative 2 is my rise, and negative 1 is my run. So if I think about following those steps, the first step is to plot the y-intercept, which is positive 2 on the y-axis. Then I'm going to count my rise going upwards 2, 1, 2. And then I'm going to count my run, and I'm going to put my run to the left because I know that I want a negative slope. And so now I'm going to double check to make sure that my graph has negative slope, and it moves upwards to the left. So I know that this does have a negative slope. In this last example, we are graphing the line with the equation y equals negative 2 divided by 5 times x minus 4. So I know that my y-intercept, which I call the letter b, is going to be negative 4. My slope, which we call m, is negative 2 over 5. Well, this is already written as a fraction, so now I know that my rise is negative 2 and my run is going to be 5. So step 1 is to graph the y-intercept, which is at negative 4. And now I'm going to count my rise and then count my run. So I'm going to go up 2 because my rise is 2. And I'm going to go to the left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to the left because I want my line to have negative slope. And so now I've completed steps 2 and 3. Step 4 is to make sure my line has the correct slope. and I see that my line does move up and to the left, which means it has negative slope, which is good.